There's only one way to get ready for the biggest games on Ohio State's schedule, and that is with a weekend kickoff brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. So why am I in the office right now? Funny story and a risky story about the dangers of technology and trusting them in every circumstance. The first segment of the show this week disappeared. Couldn't find the audio. Don't know where it went. Not able to salvage that part of it. So there's still going to be a lot of conversation with Zach Boren and Bobby Carpenter. Jeremy Birmingham will be on the show with me as well as we get into the hottest takes and some score predictions. But unfortunately for Bill Landis and that first conversation that lasted about 15 minutes with Zach and Bob, that's gone. But the whiteboard segment is still here. We're going to rejoin the show live to tape with that, and we'll kick it off there with those guys talking about a play that Penn State will try to run with the running game, how Ohio State will try and mix and match to defend that. And then we'll still have the rest of it. Don't know why we have 2/3 of it, but we're thankful that we do so that we can still bring you most of the content that you come to expect from a weekend kickoff as Ohio State gets ready for Penn State Saturday at noon. A reminder that campus is going to be crazy. If you're going to the game, get down there early. And if you want to just get into the X's and O's, well, let's go ahead and do that right now as we join weekend kickoff in progress with the second segment, Whiteboard with Zach and Bob.
Inspired design. Ultra quiet operation. To you, it's a Bryant Evolution cooling system. To us, it's the ultimate machine.
All set.
For the dealer nearest you, visit Bryant.com.
We're going to break down looking at a little bit of Penn State's offense here on the bottom of the screen versus the Buckeyes defense. And Penn State likes to run the ball. And so this was one of their runs. They're able to score against UMass, and they run out of the gun just like Ohio State. This is their classic 11 personnel, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. You have a tight end or an H-back here, running back, quarterback. And so this is what you do. They're going to force your defense either A, you're going to be down, bring your other safety down on the backside. You have one high. Maybe you go too high, whatever it's going to be. But this is just your simple weak side zone, and you're going to put these guys in peril here on the backside, depending on if you're going to bring that extra defender down here to go 3 over 2, or put him over there and go 2 over 1 and just have one guy deep, depending on who you want to help. And so it's not a very complicated run at all. You're going to stretch here. You're going to ride and stretch here. Boom, boom. Ride there. Boom. He's going to get inside and dig it out. And he's going to read either there, read that nose, cut it back, quarterback go, come out, and then obviously you have the passing game off of it. But the big thing they're going to do is read this nose. And so everybody that loves the Ohio State zone rushing attack, there are a lot of other people, Zach, that also run the zone. And this is going to give Allen and Singleton right here this two-way go and be able to force the Will linebacker to really make some decisions and the Mike to kind of fill it up as well.
Bob, what's so hard about this is that normally, just so people know, the running back normally goes always opposite the tight end, right? So if the tight end's here, normally in a normal set, running back is here, so then you're not stressing the linebackers as much. As soon as you get the running back strong, and they call that strong going towards the tight end, next thing you know, the whole defense has to bounce over. You see the free safety playing over. You see the Mike and the Will shifting over. So now what happens is you leave this guy vulnerable, that if the double team, that if the nose is not able to hold this gap and hold these two guys, they call it two gapping. If he's not able to do that, and this guard is able to get up to that Will linebacker, next thing you know, this guy's got to come down and make a tackle in the box, whether it be here, whether it be out there. And next thing you know, an open field tackle from the free safety is really hard to do, and that's where you can get those home run type of runs.
And so what it does here as well is like the two-way go. Will's got to fit. Mike's got to fit. They've got to fill these up. Node's got to hold the point. End's got to stay outside. And so you ask yourself, okay, well, we've got a couple other players here that we can get involved. That free safety's going to creep down, depending how good that guy is. But what also you have here is any team that does this, they'll run these guys down here on a variety of routes. They'll cut here and then release him. Quarterback will then keep the ball and roll out. And so it's going to put this guy in peril, or this guy, depending on how they're going to fit, to keep those guys from fitting in here and being hard run pieces. And so that play action pass off of it is going to hold those guys and prevent them from being additions in the run game, which makes the Mike and Will have to play front side to back side, front side, and then fall back for what this tight end can ultimately do. So this guy, the Penn State usually loves their tight end run game. They've had a number of good ones over the years. And so this is something that's very simple, but when you run those guys off, then you've got a decision to make. Two of these guys are going to go deep, and there's going to be an opportunity here. And so this guy, hey, I've got to go here to there, got to go there to there. And so as you talk about the linebackers playing slow, Zach, that's what slows them down, is they've got to read and figure out what these guys are doing. And the best thing you can do, these guys, is if they get here, this cuts the field and forces the linebackers running back.
Well, what kills the run game, Bob, is any penetration, right? Any penetration with these defensive linemen getting into the backfield just kills it. If these guys are even stalemated, next thing you know, the running back's got a two-way go. These guys, the tackle in the nose, Mike Hall, Tyleek Williams, Ty Hamilton, those guys have to be able to get pressure in these gaps to be able to force the running back's way. The other thing, if people want to talk about, well, why don't they just shift it over if they're so successful with this run? Because if you shift the free safety and strong safety over, next thing you know, you put these guys on islands out here, and there's so many different route trees that they can run, right? You can run the post. You can run the flag with a little dig in between, right? You can run the go with an out route. And next thing you know, you're stressing those two guys over there. And if you're expecting the Mike linebacker to play the run, next thing you know, you're stressing with this guy, especially if the strong safety isn't in this position to be the overhang on the tight end.
Yeah, so there's a lot of options there. That's why they got to be good up front. You need to be decisive with your linebackers, but it all starts really with holding the point on the outside and getting penetration on the inside.
Precision engineering. Rigorous attention to detail. A Bryant Evolution heating system is so well designed, it's as much of a joy to install as it is to use.
Good to go.
For the dealer nearest you, visit Bryant.com.
All right, what a fantastic whiteboard breakdown from these guys. I learned so much every single week that we do it on Weekend Kickoff, which is brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. It's time to dive in. Berm is now here.
Hello.
He's probably got a big thing and a hot take all rolled into one.
No, I don't. I'm not gonna. It's not my place.
It's not?
This is a nice, even-keeled show. We don't need any of my shenanigans.
It's a house of learned doctors.
No
Bob,
shenanigans,
Bob,
he
you
says.
weren't here from Maryland. It was out of control.
No tomfoolery this time.
There's no way that you can last.
One hot take. Mm-hmm. Do you know that Penn State
That
is
Mike Loxley will run the clock all the way down before halftime?
Penn State is number 2 in the country.
It's good coaching.
In sacks. They've sacked the quarterback 27 times.
That's a lot.
Drew Aller and their quarterbacks have been sacked 4 times on the season, so that's pretty good ratio that you're looking for. Hot take is that Ohio State gets more sacks on Saturday than Penn State.
Really? Are you not a fan of the defense, of the O-line for Penn State? Are you
I think that they are probably a bit overhyped.
paper dragon?
Really?
As far as their offensive line, I'm not. I mean, they have one really good player. I don't think that they are as good as people are wanting them to be. There's something weird about the Penn State offense. It just doesn't.
It always scores enough points to cover, though.
It doesn't add up. You know what I mean? Like
that's James Franklin seems to always know the scores. In week 1, the one against West Virginia, he was throwing with the backup quarterback with 3 seconds left
To cover.
and break some gamblers' hearts, whoever they may be out there.
It's just something doesn't add up about their offense. Like Bo Pribula, their backup quarterback, has almost 250 yards.
What's
rushing.
his name?
Bo Pribula.
Yeah.
He has like 250 yards
All
rushing.
right.
this season.
So who's getting the sacks for Ohio State?
JT Tuimoloau is going to have a pair of them,
Okay.
and Tommy Eichenberg is going to have one.
Okay.
And Sonny Styles is going to have one.
Oh, all right.
4-sack game.
4 seconds.
4 sack and
I think
only 2.
Aller-
And so Ohio State's offensive line will be giving up 3 or fewer.
Yeah, I think Aller, what you're
Good
going to see
math.
out of him is just a kid who is at times maybe have a little deer in the headlights look about him on Saturday. Is if the Buckeyes can come out of the gate pressuring him early and really just make him, as Bill said, like get him uncomfortable.
Let's be honest. It's his first road game, like true road
of consequence.
game. Yeah, I mean, right.
Your first road game of consequence at Ohio State against the team you grew up
loving.
I mean, there's a lot of weirdness there. He's going to have a ton of family in the crowd, and you hope he just gets out of it healthy.
It can either go really good or really bad.
Is that a threat?
Take it for however you want.
Hope he just gets out of it healthy. I mean,
I think you're going to.
You got to be careful.
I think you're
going to
see
down there on the field. I think
you're going to see. That's true. we've had camera incidents before on the sideline.
Tanya Harding over here.
I think you're
nice little
see,
quarterback you got there. Be a real shame if he got broke.
I think Ohio State's going to come out swinging and defensively.
Think Bryant will be aggressive, take shots.
Yeah, I think the defense is going to do the same. I mean, they've played 6 weeks of very conservative defense. I think you're going to see.
But it's been very good. It's been conservative but good.
Yeah, it's been real good. But I think you've proven that you can go to that if you need to do it. This is not the type of game where I want to see them. You know, Jim Knowles on Tuesday at the press conference was asked about the bend but don't break philosophy, and he's like, I don't like that. And someone's like, well, what's wrong with it? And he's like,
coming out hot.
He says, I just don't like it being called that. I'm like, okay,
like,
but
I think it's called playing better situational football.
But that's what they've done all year. So
he's coming out firing.
I think it's time to mix it up just a little bit. That's all. Mike Yurcich knows thing. I mean, you know, you got to do a little bit different. That's all.
What does Mike Yurcich know?
He understands what Ohio State's doing. He's a smart offensive coordinator. Smart guy.
Okay.
You sure about that?
He wasn't there when Jim Knowles was there.
Yeah, but I mean, he watched them a year ago. They did a nice job a year ago against Ohio State.
Tommy
Except for JT Tumalon.
Tommy had 2 broken arms.
Yeah. All right, Bob. Hot take.
Spice it up.
Ooh, let me see here. Gosh, Boren I was enamored by his wizardry.
That happens.
Over here to the right.
Not the last time. Well, not the first time. Well,
not the last time.
Not the last.
I'm going to say
hot take.
So if we're going to be aggressive, if he's
goes.
talking about the aggression here, I'm going to say Carnell Tate has 6'4", 100.
Really?
That is a hot ass take.
No. Oh, Bob.
Boy, we ramped it up here.
You said you wanted me to come strong. Now, do you want me
Bob,
to hear
that's about coming.
I'm ready to hear more.
Okay, well, I mean, I watched him last week catch a ball over the middle and attempted to get tackled by guys who weren't there. The ghost tackle.
You have to. That's weird stuff happens at Purdue. You know that, Bob.
Hey, he didn't want to fumble. I give him a lot of credit. You know what? He just watched Devin Brown probably get.
Not happening to me.
I'd rather fall down on the 2 and hold this football.
Not me, buddy.
But if you think about this,
okay.
So Marvin obviously is going to draw his required and requisite amount of attention. I think Carnell will probably play a lot. I know that they haven't talked about Emeka's health, but I can't imagine that he's going to be 100% and playing really well. Saw him try to hit a deep shot to Julian Fleming, and I think that there will be room for him. Xavier Johnson's kind of the move guy. I'm telling you, guys who probably haven't played against Carnell Tate don't fully understand how good he can be. I think if you could get him going early, get him inside and get him down the field, he is a big dude who is fast, who is very skilled. And so if he gets a little bit of confidence, I think Kyle will be like, all right, Marvin double, boom. Marvin double, boom. Then we'll start opening things up. But he's a guy that when he gets the ball has the home run capability.
I don't think people realize how good he is.
So I'm saying, I don't think
even Ohio State fans, let alone guys that he's playing against. No doubt.
All the Penn State dudes were doing was laughing in film about like who's tackling him right here. Yeah. There's nobody there. He's waiting for them and slowing down.
That was the most courteous thing I saw all weekend.
He's like
in a world where people are just rude to one another.
In
all
a
the time,
world,
we watched Carnell Tate stop and say, "Who wants to tackle me?
What are you doing? You're 5 yards away."
Just keep the game closer.
To Bob's point, though, and Bob
did he take the first half under?
Maybe. Bob will vouch for this. Carnell Tate is one of those dudes that you watch on film all during the week, and then you show up on game day, and he's completely different than the guy that you see on tape. Like, I remember there were some linebackers you're playing against, you're like, all right, they're kind of skinnier dudes. And then you get there, and they're like 6'4" and like 225, and they're just yoked, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. Like, Carnell Tate on film kind of looks a little scrawny. Then you see him in person, and you're like, oh, okay.
It's like they must have been watching the film of his senior year in high school, or like The Athletic, using
maybe they were
quotes
watching
from last year to do Ohio State anonymous quotes from the
maybe they watched that documentary on Bishop Sycamore.
Yeah,
you know, when he was in there catching all those touchdowns for IMG.
That was a great matchup.
It really was. Couldn't stop him then.
What's your hot take?
How about those? All right, well, Berm's got me going on this one now with The Athletic. Hey, let's stop using made up quotes or letting coaches be anonymous to say whatever they want with no basis in reality. I assume that the person talking about Ohio State's secondary and saying that the corners were overrated and the safeties were average at best had to have been Josh Gaddis. Why? I can't think of anybody else that it could have been who would actually say something as ludicrous as that. I can't
He
prove
only
it.
scored 17 points, though.
I don't know what to tell you. Who else has played Ohio State or would give these quotes and be that wrong other than Josh Gaddis? Tom Allen?
No way.
He seems
Tom
like a big anonymous quote guy.
I don't know.
Tom Allen came out and said Michigan's an NFL football team. Come on.
But these things are just ridiculous. And I don't really think that journalists should be using this approach anyway. I think it's not responsible on anybody's part to do it. Like, if you want to write a background story about somebody, then do that. Say, oh, there are some coaches who think maybe Ohio State's secondary isn't as good as it is. But to give these inflammatory statements like that and then not put your name on it,
get the clicks.
like, it's gross.
It really seemed like they were talking about last year's team. All of the quotes about Ohio State seemed to be like
Someone
10
probably
months
said
old.
it.
When did
Someone
this
said
come
it.
out? Just recently?
Yeah, it came
Tuesday.
out on Tuesday in The Athletic.
Oh, that's good.
I'll share with you some of that later if you haven't had a chance. But
That's your hot take?
save your time. No, Berm just mentioned it, and I was like, I wanted to get into it. My hot take is everything you guys said about Carnell Tate, I agree with, and it's accurate. But the most important offensive player to me on Saturday is going to be Xavier Johnson. And
the Swiss Army knife.
A little Georgia action.
Yeah. If Emeka Egbuka is not 100%, which Bob is probably right. You don't.
Okay, I've heard people call him Ibuka. I mean, like
Jerry,
Dubuque, Iowa. I mean, is that
No, it's Abuka.
Abuka.
Emeka Egbuka? Yes.
Abuka.
Okay, but there's no Buke. It's no like
Buke.
Dubuque, Iowa.
Did I mess it up just now?
No, there's
Okay.
people that have said that on the calls, and I'm wondering what is going on. How do we not know his name by now?
Didn't the streaming on the cock broadcast have like Jamie Eichenberg and Martell Tate?
I think it was Eichenberg.
That could
My
be a
dad
hot
goes,
take.
"Who
That
were
was the
these guys?"
worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Eichenberg, because they put an L in there.
Yeah, that was terrible.
So, yeah, the Athletic right now in the crosshairs and the Peacock. So we'll go to those. We'll set all that aside. We'll stop criticizing other journalists and say that if that's what Bob is talking about is right with Emeka, he missed a full week. We didn't really see him doing much getting ready for Purdue and resting up. You know that you want him ready for Penn State, but even if he does play, I don't know that we would see the best version of him. Then the person who can best fill in with the variety of ways that Emeka is used is Xavier Johnson. Yeah. And that can also spill over, as we saw at Purdue, when Travion Henderson was out, when Chip Trayanum left with the head injury, when you didn't have Mayan Williams available. They're also giving Xavier Johnson touches as a rusher, using him, motioning him in the backfield, letting him run. He can do everything.
He's a runner. He's a track star.
He's everything.
Yeah.
Runner, track star, superstar, global phenomenon, Mr. Worldwide. He's all of that. So if that's true, I think Xavier, and that doesn't mean that he has to have 10 for 180 like Marv did a year ago. He might have 10 touches, 80 yards, and a touchdown, and that would still make him really important for opening up opportunities for everybody else. So that's as hot as it's going to get from me, unfortunately.
I got 3.
Oh, let's go.
Can I have 3? Can I have 3?
Yeah.
I'm schlegging it right now.
Number one.
Hey, number one is I am buying as much Kyle McCord stock as I possibly can. Penn State's defense, number 1 in the country. McCord goes for over 300 on Saturday.
Okay.
Over 300.
Turn up the heat, Zach.
I think
Penn
Ryan.
State's giving up 121 yards a game passing.
Listen.
So just for the record. We're just throwing it out there. That's 3 times. That's 3x.
Yeah.
Who's UMass's quarterback?
Their quarterback was actually a Clemson player. He transferred. I can't pronounce his name. It's something extremely strange, but
DJ Uyunglele? No, he plays at Oregon
no,
State.
it's he was a kid. Yeah, whatever Bill just said back there. He was at Clemson.
Jean Valjean, he said.
Jean Valjean.
Okay. Well, McCord's going for over 300. I am totally buying that. I think it's been mentioned on the show already. Ryan Day's coming out throwing haymakers, and I know, everyone's saying the run game, what Ryan's just going to say, screw it. We're throwing it to him. We're going all out. McCord over 300. Number 2, Cade Stover, 2 touchdowns. He is going to be involved in the passing game. You guys both talked about Emeka not being fully healthy, and I don't think he's fully healthy. Carnell Tate's a great one. I love Carnell Tate. Xavier Johnson, love what he can do, and I think you'll see them do more things with him, especially this week like you saw against Georgia last year.
Mm-hmm.
But Cade Stover, especially in the red zone, you've seen them go to him in situations where third and medium, third and goal, needing those big plays. Kyle McCord's been going to our man, Cade Stover. So 2 touchdowns there. Number 3, Drew Aller has 0 picks on the year. 0. He will have 2 on Saturday.
Woo. Okay, who gets them?
2 picks. Who gets them? I am going with Josh Proctor is going to be one.
I thought for sure you were going to say Davison first. You love him.
I love Davidson.
He's got to get one eventually. He's so close to being really good.
I know. I love it. I think Proctor gets one. I really do. And I think Tommy gets one. Because you want to know something.
On a deflection by Tyleek Williams.
Yeah, on a deflection or something like that. I think that's where Tommy gets one. I think what's going to happen is Penn State, if anything, they know, Drew Aller's not, especially on the road, not getting the ball down the field. They're going to try and suck those linebackers up on the run play action. There you go, Bob.
Nice sound effect.
and throw in the middle of the field right behind those backers. So that's where I think you're going to see Josh Proctor get one. That's where I think you're going to see Tommy Eichenberg get one.
Slurp it down.
Like a big old fat milkshake.
Big gulps, eh? Well,
let me ask you this. Do you think the Penn State offense is better than Maryland's offense?
No.
Okay.
Penn State, their running backs are only Allen and Singleton are averaging 4.4 yards a carry this year, which is fine because if 3 of them get you first down.
Crying?
I'm just the slurp noise was just perfect. So Ohio State's tailbacks are averaging 4.9 yards a carry this year, which is I think better than people would have anticipated.
That's way higher. I think if you ask most fans, they say
2.
1.2.
So the Ohio State tailbacks are averaging 4.9 yards a carry, and Penn State's their offense averaging 43 points a game or whatever they're only averaging 4.4. So.
Josh Perry dropped out an interesting nugget to me. This was maybe before the Maryland game, where he said Penn State, despite the fact that they've got one of the best offenses in the Big Ten, was averaging like 3.2 yards an offensive play or 3.4 yards per offensive play.
Yeah, because there's no explosives. They're last in the country.
He said they're 10th. They were 10th, and that includes a conference that has Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, some of the worst offensive football I've ever seen in my life.
We talked about this before the Maryland game, is that little Tula Tito is going to be the second best quarterback that Ohio State defense faces all year, with J.J. McCarthy being number 1. It's a quarterback league anywhere in football. I don't care if it's NFL, college. Those 2 levels, you have a good quarterback, you become dangerous. Berm, to your point, Maryland's offense is better than the offense of Penn State.
I will say that I do think Talia is a better quarterback.
It's Tula Tito.
Tua Tito is better. That's my own nickname I gave him. I can't, why'd I stop using it? I don't know. That was ridiculous. I do think he's better than Drew Aller, and he poses more of a threat to Ohio State. So,
especially he can run. Drew Aller's not going to beat you with his legs at all.
No, that's why their backup quarterback has 250 rushing yards.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Got to play in games and blowouts, so that helps too.
I know, but why are you bringing the guy in to just run the ball? It's weird.
Well, you equate the numbers in the run game. You go down to the red zone.
That's what you have to do against UMass.
You put 33 in the game.
All right, what are the final scores?
I know what Zach, we'll save Zach for last.
Please.
I think he's got a big score going up
please.
here. Berm, what do you got cooked up?
24-13.
Somebody going to win the game, 24-13? Or?
Yes.
Okay. That's good.
That's it. I was going to say, I like that. 27-13 is kind of
either of you say who's going to win the game?
Yeah, Buckeyes.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
That's assuming.
Sometimes Berm reminds me of Marv from Home Alone. That's who he reminds me of.
He's a wet bandit.
He's like, someone going to win the game.
I've heard it before.
It's like Harry asked me, is someone going to win the game?
Yep. Somebody is going to win the game.
I've heard that before.
I think Ohio State wins.
Bob, what was your score?
27-13.
Okay. Yeah.
Ohio State wins 30-23.
A little higher scoring affair.
When there's so much attention on the defenses, like I think you got to zig when they're saying zag.
Okay.
Over.
Yeah.
If you told me you just think Maryland is the best offense they faced, And you're telling me you think they scored another score on
What did
top
I
of
say
that?
about the special teams? I'm not sure that's going to be fixed this week.
Yeah.
Average.
Ohio State's not going to punt.
Kickoff return.
Well, if Ohio State doesn't punt, they're going to score a lot more than 27.
They can throw interceptions and fumble.
Oh man.
I love what you're putting out.
I'm just being real.
They we had similar scores for Maryland. I actually think you took my score.
You had the exact same score.
Well, we did. Then I had to
He
change
didn't want to take the.
I didn't want to take.
And I
the
almost
same
hit it
exact
exactly.
one. Correct. I am going, and I've thought about this all week. Buckeyes 38, Penn State 13.
Woo!
I know those guys said
The hot
13.
take segment was over.
That's why I asked Bob what his score was, because I'm like, oh my God, we got
What was
three
your
of us
score?
saying 13.
38-13.
Jeez, that'd be beautiful. I'm here for
It's
it.
certainly not outside of the realm of possibility.
No.
I mean, the Buckeyes
Not at
just
all.
have to do what the Buckeyes
Yeah.
can do. They have as much talent as anybody in the country. You can go out there. Have they scored 40 points this year? No.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes?
last week.
Sorry, they did last week. Last week 41. It was 34. That one touchdown didn't matter. That didn't count. It was 34.
Have
What?
they? Did you go to the Western Kentucky game?
It mattered to my wife because she.
Yeah, that Western Kentucky too.
I forgot
I
about
think that was
game.
like 63.
Have they done it? Hey, have they done it, America? Only
63.
twice. Oh, no, never mind.
They can do it. They have the talent to do
Twice
that
in
every
6
week.
games.
They have the talent to do that every week, and they just got to put it together. That's all.
That was a great question. I'm glad we clarified it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's finally.
It's important to get it
Here's the
clarified.
thing: that they were motivated against Notre Dame, but I think Notre Dame was still early on in the year where they were still feeling things out. They have an identity now, and I think that swagger as a team has picked up since the Maryland game. You saw it again against Purdue. They are going into this top 10 matchup just ready. They are ready to swing.
Do you think their defense is better than Notre Dame's?
Penn State.
Yeah.
I do.
I don't, because I don't think they're as good on the back end. I really don't. I think maybe
they're just more dynamic. Yeah, and Notre Dame is probably
More consistent?
more consistent, less likely to make a big mistake.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Penn State has more game changers on their defense that can make a play to beat you, in my opinion.
See, I think this week more so against Notre Dame, and maybe it's the chances. I think there's more opportunity for Ohio State's passing game to have big plays.
Yeah, because Penn State
Against Notre Dame,
Penn State will take chances.
Yeah, against Notre Dame, I didn't see them popping the big one. I think this week they can have that opportunity.
You got to get healthy because you need your home run hitters. That's
No, they
where,
don't. Cardinal Tate,
Well, I mean,
Xavier Johnson.
Xavier Johnson,
oh, okay.
Cade Stover.
It's all set.
I would think that you would have a better shot at home runs with Travion Henderson and Emeka Ibuka. That's just my personal vibe.
I would concur, unless you're getting the Carnell Tate show.
Yeah.
Well, all vibes are out there and ready for weekend kickoff. It's brought to you by Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. Thanks for joining us. Great time, as always, in here. We appreciate them having us in here to talk some ball and get ready for the biggest games on Ohio State's schedule. There's one at the end of the regular season that we'll be back for that with Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems. But until then, get ready for Ohio State, Penn State, Saturday, noon in the Horseshoe. We cannot wait. Appreciate Bill Landis, Jeremy Birmingham, Bobby Carpenter, Zach Boren. I am Austin Ward. We will talk to you next time.